Imagine you're sitting in biology class one morning when the teacher announces you'll be studying cell samples. As she distributes microscopes and bluish-purple stained cell samples, you're excited to finally use the equipment you've been eyeing all semester. Good morning, class. These are HeLa cells. Your teacher explains. They come from a woman named Henrietta Lacks, an African-American patient at Johns Hopkins in the 1950s. Her cancer cells were taken without her consent, but became the first immortal human cell line, revolutionizing medical research. For some odd reason, the name Lacks catches your attention. It sounds oddly familiar, though your last name is Johnson. But when the teacher shows Henrietta's photo, you're struck by how much she resembles your grandmother. That evening at home, you can't shake the feeling. Finally, you ask your mom, "Mom, do we know Henrietta Lacks?" The long silence that follows is deafening. "Yes, honey." Your mom finally responds, taking your hand. "I was wondering when you'd ask about this. Before I married your father and became a Johnson, my last name was Lacks. Your great-grandmother was Henrietta Lacks." You sit there, stunned, realizing that the woman whose cells helped create the polio vaccine and advance cancer research, the same woman who was racially exploited and manipulated, the woman you just learned about in biology class, is your great-grandmother. This is what life would have been like if you were Erica Johnson, the granddaughter of Henrietta Lacks, on that particular day of biology class that would stick with her forever. This is Past, Present, and Future of HeLa Cells with yours truly, Shawnee Ingraham. Today we're diving into the remarkable story of HeLa Cells, a story that changed medicine forever, but also raises important questions about racism in healthcare, consent, and human dignity. So let's get started with the simple fact. Before HeLa cells, scientists couldn't keep human cells alive in labs. But in 1951, something extraordinary happened. Cells taken from a woman named Henrietta Lacks didn't just survive in the lab, they thrived. These cells, nicknamed HeLa from the first two letters of her first and last name, could multiply endlessly. They became the first immortal human cell line. The impact of HeLa cells has been incredible. They've helped create the polio vaccine, been sent to space to study zero-gravity effects on human cells, and helped scientists understand diseases like tuberculosis. These cells have saved millions of lives through countless medical breakthroughs. But of course, there's a dark side to this story. When Henrietta Lacks walked into Johns Hopkins, the only hospital in her area that would treat Black patients, she entered a medical system built on racism. Her cells were then taken and used without her knowledge or consent, showing how medical institutions used their power unfairly against Black patients. This wasn't new. American medicine has a long history of racism. In the 1800s, scientists like Samuel Morton used fake science to claim races were biologically different, which they used to justify treating people unequally. These ideas created deep problems in the healthcare that we still see today. The effects of this history are real. Today's health differences between racial groups aren't because of biological differences. They come from social and environmental factors. As the book Racism Not Race explains, racism is about prejudice plus power. When medical institutions had the power to use Henrietta's cells without asking, that's exactly what happened. Modern genetic science has taught us something important. People with recent African ancestry have more genetic diversity among themselves than all other populations combined. This fact completely destroys old racist myths about biological differences between races. But we still face challenges. When you get a genetic test today, you're not just sharing your own information, you're potentially exposing your whole family's genetic data. This raises serious privacy concerns, especially with law enforcement using genetic databases. In all, the story of HeLa cells matters to everyone because it shows us how medical progression, ethics, and justice connect. It reminds us that behind every scientific breakthrough, there are real human stories of both progress and pain. As we work to fix these problems, organizations like the Henrietta Lacks Foundation help families affected by the unfair medical research, while groups like the Equal Justice Initiative fight for better healthcare justice. Today, as HeLa cells continue to advance medical breakthroughs in labs across the globe, we must remember the woman behind these immortal cells. A Black mother whose bodily autonomy was violated in an area of systematic racism and medical exploitation. Henrietta Lacks' legacy demands that we create a more equitable future in medical research, one where informed consent, racial justice, and our human dignity are never compromised in the name of a scientific progress. Well, guys, I'm your host, Shauna Ingraham, reminding you that understanding our past helps us build a better future. Thanks for listening, and join me next time as we explore how science, race, and justice connect in America.